Hello everybody and welcome to episode number 26 of the Moonboy podcast. My name is Donovan Jolly and I'm here with Dallin Anderson at High Altitude Investing. You guys are going to be able to find awesome content once a week. You guys are going to be able to find our podcast uploaded every single Sunday on all hosting platforms, Spotify, iTunes, and Apple Play. This is one that we host every single week. We post it on both of our channels. You guys can find 5 videos a week on his channel and in my channel, so make sure that you guys go check them out, subscribe to both, find our Discord servers, and get in on all of this awesome action here. You know, guys, with all the stuff with the cryptocurrency markets, this is kind of a way that we can connect with you guys, aside from analysis, because that's really what we're doing on our channels anyways, is just technical analysis. So we wanted to be able to connect with you guys, talk about some more just one-on-one interpersonal stuff with how the markets move, how our personal mindset is geared towards investing, and this is just a way that we can connect with all of our viewers. And so, you know, guys, make sure if you are a subscriber, check out all of these on the hosting platforms, like I said, Spotify, Google Play. You guys can download these if you want to actually just listen while you're working out or on the go doing anything. And yeah, so you guys can expect a lot of awesome updates on this. You know, one of the things we talked about in the last week was just how all these altcoins have been popping off, and it's really exciting that we're finally at this point where it feels like we've just waited for so long, all the choppy action of how the bear market was, and we're finally seeing, you know, Bitcoin breaking out, we're seeing gold breaking all-time highs, we're seeing altcoins, DeFi specifically, and it's just been a really exciting time. I mean, what's something that you are excited for the next couple months with what we're seeing, just, you know, in general?
This is honestly the funnest time ever. This is everything that you're waiting for inside of the altcoins. When they actually break out like this and the market pushes right up through those resistance levels like we've been seeing, and then you get all of these setups, you get markets that are breaking all-time highs already or close. Is Aave break its all-time high yet?
I think it's getting close.
It's getting really close. So we've got a bunch of projects right now across the board going completely crazy. So for me, the most exciting thing is honestly just watching the leaders carry the other projects along with them. And so to watch those projects like Chainlink right now breaking out like crazy, and these coins really showing what can happen for those ones, that's the most exciting thing over the next few months, is to just see all of that money funnel from the top ones down.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been looking forward to, because that's why I went so heavy into the high caps at the start. I've always been a big time believer that, you know, the weight of my portfolio is going to get invested into the high caps, because those are always the ones that outperform the majority of the pack. And, you know, they're the most consistent. They have the most, you know, proven track record on top of that. So I've always been a big believer on the high caps. You know, it's really cool that we're seeing Chainlink really starting to take off. You know, Tezos is just right behind Chainlink, and I think that one's heading in for another, you know, 2 to 3x type move like we just saw with Chainlink. Kind of this massive breakout that we saw where it went from like, you know, $4 or $5 all the way to, I think it peaked at just under 14 or something at this point. So it's been crazy. So I'm really looking forward to all of that stuff, because Chainlink's leading the way. It's kind of showing the direction for everything else. We saw the laggard XRP break out of its short-term downtrend, so that's a bonus. I think that that's really the biggest thing that we should be looking for alt season, is when the laggards start to break out and they're starting to show strength. Like, that's kind of the giveaway for me. And, you know, XRP was the one and final investment that I had that wasn't a profit, and, you know, with the recent move to 30 cents, I'm finally in profit in all of those, and we're starting to see everything, you know, taking shape. You know, Chainlink was the outlier. Chainlink and Tezos, they led the way. Then you have the old coins from like Ethereum, XMR, those things. And then you had the outliers, which were kind of like, well, the laggards, I should say, which were XRP. You know, there was a couple others you could say, like Verge, New Economy Movement, some of those that didn't really make any moves, they kept downtrending. But now we're seeing all of those starting to break out as well. So it's a really encouraging sign for anybody that's, you know, bag holder, anybody that's just seeing losses, because now we're starting to hit that point where everything just kind of goes up unison.
What's interesting too about this run around for me is the fact that we're seeing real technology, whereas like the first one was completely just white paper type of stuff. Whereas this run around, you can actually go to like decentralized exchanges, for example, and use these platforms, and they actually function. So not only are we seeing coins breaking out across the board and all of these different altcoin projects really showing what's capable from a price perspective, but we actually have real software to play around with and websites to go to that are much more than just like
nothing.
Yeah, much more than absolutely nothing, or baseline beta level stuff that isn't developed at all. So to see the development is actually cool.
Yeah, after years and eternities of waiting, Ethereum proof of stake is finally going to get released. I think we've been waiting on this since the last bull run, really. That's getting ready to be released, and so we'll have the new Ethereum launch, and that is a big deal. And so I think that kind of sets the stage. I mean, the Shelley mainnet for Cardano is getting ready to be released. Same thing for Ethereum 2.0 is getting ready to be released, and so we're kind of getting like the finished products being unrolled right now. Ethereum F2.0 is definitely not a finished product by any means. It's going to take years of continued development before we get to the point, because it's just everything's just in this project stage. But you're right, we are at this point where outside of just the project phase, where it's just white papers and just more or less just the whole project still left to be designed, we now have functioning blockchains. We now have ways that we can build blockchains on other blockchains, and it's actually really easy to do that. So we have a lot of development being taken place where, when we first got in, it was kind of just like ideas and beliefs that you'd invest into, whereas now we kind of actually have somewhat of a functioning product. Whereas, it wasn't the case. Bitcoin was really the only thing to go around in the early days. Then when you had these other cryptos, Litecoin, Dogecoin, then you had, Ethereum, you could program and build new dApps and things like that. It's kind of at this stage where I think that this next bull run is going to see a ton of new adoption because, for the first time ever, we now have platforms where we can build pretty easily. It's a lot more accessible nowadays than ever before. And so I think it's going to be a really nice time overall, where there's going to be a ton of new money flooding into this from a lot of different areas that we didn't really expect, that I think a lot of people aren't going to expect, because now we have the infrastructure. Like you said, it's not just some belief or an idea where, at that point, if you only have the idea, all you can really do is just kind of buy it and invest in it. Whereas now there's an actual functioning product. So not only can you invest in the idea, but you could go and build something on it too if you wanted. So I think that's going to be a big thing heading into this next cycle.
Yeah, it's going to be cool because of, it's just cool to see the application of everything instead of just these ideas. Because I think that you see cool concepts, you see cool ideas, they inspire you, they make you excited, maybe you invest money into the project, maybe you get ideas. But this time around, I can actually use these things. BitShares, for example, is a decentralized exchange in the last cycle, and I used it and was able to trade on it a little bit. But now if you get onto, or even like Banker Network, there's coins now that you can go and you can trade coins for other coins inside of decentralized exchanges that are all inside of the blockchain itself. And when you actually go to do this, it's very straightforward. Everything works perfectly. The interface is programmed well. You can actually do this. CryptoKitties was probably like the biggest thing that people were using in the last cycle, as far as and Steemit was a place that was actually being used as far as development and stuff. But this time around, we have all kinds of cool stuff. I mean, even Cash App. People forget, but Cash App itself is a cryptocurrency product. And you have Cash App cards, and you have the ability to buy and sell and invest in Bitcoin and stocks all inside of Cash App. So there's so much more application of these things than there ever has been. And so what you said about DeFi, the cool thing with DeFi is it's going to be really interesting to watch that unfold because of really fast transactions, smaller transactions as well, because there's actually so many markets that if they could have a way to send very small amounts of money between each other, you open up a ton of microtransactions in a ton of industries that weren't able to be processed before. And so that's going to be really fun to watch that unfold as well.
It's Cash App, PayPal, JP Morgan and Chase Bank. a number of the other banks as well are accepting crypto. So, there's a lot more development. Decentralized exchanges are the big thing, and we're seeing a ton of new volume flooding into these, like Uniswap. Uniswap's the one that I've been using a lot. I've been buying so many different coins on Uniswap the last couple weeks, and that's like, I can see how nice these decentralized exchanges are, and I believe that in this next cycle, we're going to actually see some that are good, because BitShares, honestly, I don't like BitShares personally. Their exchange hasn't ever changed, and they're kind of the same product as they were in 2016. So I don't care about BitShares, but Uniswap, you're seeing an actual exchange
I'm
that is
invested in BitShares.
Well, I'm sorry about that. you have coins. Well, you have projects like Uniswap, and you're seeing millions and millions of dollars that are flooding into this. Uniswap has some of the highest volumes over the last couple months than any exchanges out there, and that's a decentralized exchange. And so we've seen all of these new coins that are getting brought up, these DeFi coins. Everybody's using Uniswap to transact those and swap their Ethereum to get it, because that's all Uniswap is it's basically just a platform where you can swap your Ethereum into
it's on chain, isn't it?
Yeah.
It uses it's all inside of a blockchain.
Yeah.
So it's like a real decentralized exchange.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's built on Ethereum. So it's just an Ethereum decentralized exchange, like Bancor, like Kyber, all of those types of things. And so, I've been actually buying a ton of different coins on there, using them, and it's really nice, honestly. It really is nice to have that type of an option, because I don't really want an exchange. I don't want a centralized exchange. I don't want to have to deal with any of that stuff. I think everything should be decentralized, and it works so much better if we had a decentralized alternative for an exchange, because think about Mt. Gox and think about that hack. You can't hack a decentralized exchange. And so, there's going to be a lot of bonuses towards that. And I really am excited for, Binance to get all their decks working, because they're going to be the most obvious player as far as front runner for all of that goes.
Yeah, it's really cool to see these decentralized exchanges popping off, and all the low caps on them too, because Uniswap is the one that has all these DeFi coins that are going 100% in value, 200% in value, breaking out, starting their first cycles, their first one waves, getting ready for massive big picture, massive cycles, thousands of percent gain cycles. Seriously though, a lot of these low caps are going to be crazy.
Yeah. I've already been making a significant amount off of all these. Well, and then a lot of them haven't even been low caps, just mid cap altcoins. A lot of the low caps I've been buying off of Uniswap. They've been doing really well, and I've been profiting off of those. But a lot of the mid caps right now are fire. Anything, I put my long-term portfolio in the high caps, and then I like to trade all of the other stuff, because the mid to low caps are really where you make so much money. And you'll make a lot of money holding the high caps long-term. I love to do that. It's just forget about type money, just hold on to. Whereas, I get on Uniswap, I buy some of these low cap stuff. I could put $1,000 into a project, and these things don't really take that much before they pull a 10x. And $1,000 10x, you got 10 grand to go into it. A number of different trades. And so that's kind of the way I've been looking at it. It's just like, I can take a trade, I can double make my profit or whatever, double my money, and then I can sell what I initially invested, and then all I'm doing is just letting those profits ride long term, and then just seeing what it turns into. Because with how early we are in the cycle, just by buying and holding long term, this is where you see the 1000x or the 100x type move. It's when you're taking the actions right now. And so the trick is, you got to be able to buy and hold to be able to get that 100x. And so for me, it's like, I don't know which one of these coins is going to be that. I don't know which one's going to randomly, pull a Ant Shares and rebrand a Neo and then do 1000x. I don't know what's going to happen. And so what I can do and, put myself out there for the highest potential is really to just get some investments with these coins, set it up with an actual trading plan, stop loss, take profit and stuff. But when I take my profits, I'm not selling all of my position. I'm keeping some of my profits in there long term to just, compound and grow and see what it turns into. And I think that a lot of people doing that right now could actually find that they're going to make a lot of money doing so. And I've already found, it's happening to me. I'll take a trade with like 0.05 Bitcoin. Let's say I double it, and then I've got 0.1 Bitcoin or something. I'll sell the 0.05 that I took for the position, and then I'll put that into something else. And then the 0.05 that I just made profit, I'll just let that hold long term. And from that, you might be able to make those 1000x returns, and you didn't have to actually put in any work really. You just kind of made some profit off the trade and let it go. And I've already seen a lot of my profits compound to well more than I would have made if I would have just sold right then and there. So I think that that's a thing that really a lot of people should look out for, is letting those winners ride and just compound and grow with how early we are in the cycle.
Yeah, that's super smart. If you can combine a little patience between holding the big trends that occur, but also being willing to pick some coins that are maybe what somebody might call higher risk, and then put a little bit of money into it, let it, like you said, double in value, triple in value, 10x in value, and then all of a sudden you can just compound over and over and over and let that money run over into your other winnings, and you're just compiling everything together in one big giant bag of cryptocurrency profits.
Well, I mean, it's crazy. I'll give you an example. So iExec RLC was a trade that I took. I put 0.05 Bitcoin in it, and it did a 4x return, right? So I had like over 0.25, it was like 0.3 Bitcoin, something along those lines. And I took that and I sold some of it, and basically I kept like the 0.05 Bitcoin that I had originally invested, and I just let that go long term. And then I took all of the profits that I made, which was like, 0.25 Bitcoin or something like that. And then I just took a bunch of other 0.05 Bitcoin positions in a bunch of other trades. I put 0.05 here in this trade, 0.05 here in this trade, 0.05 here in this trade, and then I just diversified all those profits. Well, two of those coins that I put the profits into, they already pulled a 2 and a 3x. And so that 0.05 just turned into another, 0.2 Bitcoin or 0.15 Bitcoin. And so off of one trade of taking 0.05 Bitcoin, I could have just compounded that and turned it into, half a Bitcoin potentially, or a full Bitcoin. I don't know exactly what it's at this point. I'd have to count it up, but I'd say it's at least half a Bitcoin that I made off of starting with 0.05. And that's the cool thing about these, is it doesn't take much. You can literally take 0.05 Bitcoin, which is like $600-700 right now, and you could turn that into a half a Bitcoin off of one trade. And of course, you have to take those profits and diversify those profits, but it's not that hard. And this is kind of why I've started doing this strategy now over the last couple months, is because in my opinion we've hit the point of the bull run where we're only going to be seeing things going up. And anytime you see a dip, you buy that dip, things are probably going to and profit the next day. And so that's why I say this, is because it doesn't take very big of investments, but that compounding really does grow, and it'll take you off guard how much you can actually make by doing so.
And there is no other market in the entire world that you can compound as quickly as crypto. And there's literally so many projects every single day. You can get on CoinMarketCap or wherever you like to go to find all of your different charts. And you can click on the 24-hour change, the weekly change, the 90-day change, the 30-day change, and drop and see the percentages that stuff is moving up and down over all these different time frames. And every single day, every single week, you can find these projects that are down 30%, buy them, and then get ready for 100% gains, 200% gains as they push up through resistance. You just have to know the basics of how to identify the simple checklist of, it's like we look at a chart, and Donovan and I will look at it and we use like a handful of things. It's not like a 10-year master's degree worth of stuff that you have to know. You just have to know the patterns to look for, check that list off, and then bam, just like that, you can identify if it's a good setup or not.
Like, I think it's funny because like our neighbor, he'll come over and he'll get really excited talking about crypto with us and share his charts. And he the way he learned was paying for courses and stuff, and also just looking stuff online. And so he learned a lot of strategies with like indicators. He knows a lot of like little technical things that he talks a lot of stuff, and I don't know what he's talking about most of the time because I just don't follow it. I don't really look at a whole lot of technical indicators. I don't look a lot into like the details of things. All I'm doing is pretty much taking a bare chart. Oftentimes I'm not even looking at volume. I mean, I do look at volume, but oftentimes it's just a bare chart and I'm analyzing price action alone. And so off of that, I'm able to find my trades. I can look at a chart, and within 2 minutes I can tell you if I would feel comfortable enough taking the trade or not. And it's just trained, like you said, it's a matter of finding patterns that have worked and you've been able to profit in times past, and then just looking for those same patterns again. And the more that you create a little a little booklet or a trading plan of ideas, and you've got a number of these little trading setups that you can go about and invest in, that's all it really is. And for us, we're sticking to market cycles a lot of the time. So finding a market cycle is pretty easy. You're just looking for, a rally and then a correction, and then you're buying the terminal end of that correction, and you're just kind of doing that. So it's more or less just like playing the cyclical waves of how things go, with the big pumps and then they dump and then repeat the cycles. And so, there's a lot of different ways you can go about it. You can get really into the technical indicators, but for me, I'm literally just drawing some trend lines, drawing a couple basic support and resistance lines. I might throw up, like some Fibonacci, but overall it's more just, I look for a certain setup based off of a cycle, and I just something that I can look at and feel confident enough in, and then I just buy that. It's nothing too, complicated. And that's the thing, is the more you try and be so right about a trade, the more you're going to just mess up that. It's just take the trade and, move on. If it's right, you're right, and if you're wrong, you get stopped out and you get to go to a different one. That shouldn't even be a real issue. Just getting out there, taking as many trades as you can.
Yeah, it's so simple. You could teach this to any age. Anybody could learn this.
Yeah.
5 years old, 10 years old, 20 years old. The simplicity of what you need to see inside of the chart is actually extremely straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of the emphasis of something I wanted to bring up in today's podcast, is just the fact that sometimes you might be looking at this, and maybe you're following people on crypto Twitter, and you see so many different strategies and indicators, and then you see so many different things like leverage, and it's easy to get lost like a ship at sea, just getting tossed every which way inside of the wind at sea. And if you just kind of tune yourself in to the simple things, like the very, very simple checklist of find your market cycle, find your time frame, find your chart pattern, buy your double bottom breakouts, and keep it extremely simple and straightforward, you're going to save yourself a lot of headache, a lot of heartache, a lot of losses, and actually be able to have a repeatable, profitable strategy that keeps you where you're trying to go at sea. Mm-hmm. Keeps you on your track. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of this, like, a really important thing to remember, because it's easy to get overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to. Like, it really is, this stuff is actually simple. You can break it down into a simple strategy.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing, is you'll sit down with somebody who isn't super educated with technical analysis, has only been doing it for a shorter period of time, and you sit down with them, and it's like their perspective on everything is really different. It's like, well, this crossed the EMA, and this did this thing at this time, and last time it did this, this happened, and it's like they're very focused in on all these little minute details, and while that's fine and you can make money doing that, for me it's like, the indicators are one thing, but I'm just looking at the chart, and with my strategy, it's so simple, and the more simple that you can get in your approach, that's the thing, is that the more traders that I talk to and the more successful people I talk to in the space, every single one of them talks about the same thing. Their trading plan is boring, more or less. Like, they don't even, it's not even fun for them to trade, because they stick to the same guidelines and it never changes anything. And so they buy it when it follows those certain guidelines, and then they sell when it does something else. And they're just repeating that process over and over and over again. And so literally all they're doing is just little money machines. They've just created a little money machine, and they're just, managing that little machine all the way through. And it's super easy to get caught up with all these little things, these indicators, all these little things that don't really matter. But at the end of the day, all the best traders will just talk to you that simplicity is key, and the best traders are the ones with the most simple, basic. You draw 2 lines, and then that's it. You just let it do the rest itself, and that's how I personally like to keep my stuff.
Yeah, no, it's actually true in business too. I don't remember the exact story, but there's some companies, so I'll just kind of make up a different version of the story. There was a company that was selling, it was like some product like ranch or a dressing, and they had a flavor of ranch, and it was so good. Everybody loved it. Everybody was buying it. Everybody was talking about it. You go to dinner, and then you're all of a sudden, next thing you know, you have a salad and you're putting the ranch on it because the whole town knows. Anyways, so the ranch company thought, okay, well, we have such a good thing going on here. Let's take our ranch bottles and make 10 other flavors of them. And they made 10 other flavors, and then everybody was overwhelmed and they didn't know what to do. Most of the flavors they didn't like, and all of a sudden nobody's buying any of the ranch at all. They're not even buying the original one because they're so fed up with the company. And so I think that's kind of an interesting aspect of human psychology. Sometimes as people, we like the simple solutions to things, and the simple solution is one flavor that works with our salad. And that's exactly what it is with trading strategies too. Like, you can try to have 10 flavors of ranch, but most likely you're just going to make everybody frustrated that they can't find the one flavor that they wanted. And so that's what I've done with my trading strategy, and what Donovan's done with his, and what we do with our investing and trading every day in the Discord groups is we break these complicated things down and make them very simple and give you one flavor of ranch, and you can just take it and put it on your salad and pull money out of the market.
One universal dip for every ranch fiend. Ranch. Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. I've never thought about it like ranch bottles, but yeah, that's the same thing. You just gotta find your bottle of ranch, and then you just take your carrot and you dip it in there, and you're wealthy and abundant in these markets. Yeah, honestly, I'm really hyped about all this stuff. Like, to finally see all this profit, to finally see all of these things starting to take off like we've been talking about forever. It's funny because we go back to COVID and everybody was pissed on us for being bullish and pissed that we were telling everybody to buy. And now we're at this point, and people are still in the disbelief stage. They're like, oh man, these kids, they were right up to this point, but are they going to keep being right? I don't believe them. And then they're just going to keep seeing these markets go up. And then, I've seen it a lot firsthand. I got a lot of messages from, I'll see like messages from, before COVID. I'll have people that were asking me all these questions, super scared about stuff, and then saying that they were going to sell. And then they'll message me now, like recently, and I'll see their old messages from COVID, and just to see how crazy and hysterical everybody was acting, and now seeing everything starting to take off and everybody's feeling really left out because they panic sold. And so we're seeing the second wave of everybody panic sold. We're seeing the second wave of retail coming into the market because the market's going up, but we're also seeing the people that panic sold trying to get back into the market because they're feeling left out. And so we're getting a nice little pump and rise upwards of this all-time high mark, so we can be enter the genuine price discovery. I think that's what the real exciting thing is.
And what I'm actually noticing is how many people are still nervous to get back in.
Yeah.
It's cool that a lot of people are getting back in right now, and I think it's a good thing, because big picture, this is the most undervalued market on planet Earth, on the entire planet. But with that being said, it's interesting still to see how there's still that kind of, like you said, are these kids going to keep being right? Like, because honestly, it's you lose as much money as you do in a bear market, and then it's hard to want to put your money back.
Yeah, exactly. It's really hard.
But do it.
Put everything in. No,
yeah.
Do whatever. Only invest what you're willing to lose. But with that being said, I am all in.
We're willing to lose everything.
Yes, except my life.
In our early 20s, we might as well just bet our entire time, effort, energy, life on the crypto markets, see what happens. Who knows, maybe we hit it big and we can go do everything we want to do for the rest of our life forever.
Yeah, I'm going the complete opposite. Peter Brandt, that man, that legend, old Peter, I bought his course in 2018, and he always talked about how you should never go all in, and how you should never, be a Deegan gambler and just take huge positions and leverage everything that you have on a market. And I paid for this guy's course and I learned all of these things, but I just didn't listen to any of it. But I shouldn't say that. I listened to a lot of it, but I didn't listen to that aspect, because for me personally, I understand that there's a high amount of risk, and when you go all in on something, the emotions that you're going to feel, the attachment, in every situation other than mine, I can understand why that's a good thing. But in my situation, the reason why I have enough faith and confidence to go all in is because of the fact, I saw what it was like in 2017. I see the same setups playing out right now in the market, same looking chart patterns, same market cycles, same ROI approximately, roughly. And here we are at the very bottom of this. If I would have known the things that I did now in the last cycle, I'd be so filthy rich right now that I wouldn't have a channel and I'd be retired basically. But now, I see the same thing playing out again. And I used to always tell myself, I remember looking at the Bitcoin chart from 2015 when it was at $200 before it went all the way to 20,000. I remember looking at that chart and telling myself, man, if I ever see this chart pattern again, I'm good at putting everything I have into it. And the same thing happened with Ethereum. I looked at Ethereum from way back in like 2015. I'm like, man, if I see this chart pattern, I'm going all in. And now I see this chart pattern everywhere on all of these coins. And so, I'm just doing with what I said originally. I told myself I'd go all in if I saw it. We're seeing Ethereum doing the same 2015 Bitcoin consolidation. We're seeing all of these other coins look like 1980s silver when it went from $4 per ounce to $50 per ounce. And here I am all in, ready, just, full throttle in my rocket ship to the moon and ready to just make all of this money. And so, at the end of the day, obviously this is my own analysis, this isn't investment advice, but I'm all in and I think it's a good opportunity. And I'm not telling anybody to go all in out there, I'm just merely explaining that I think it's a good opportunity and I'm that confident.
Yeah, it's cool. I honestly love the confession that you bought his course and he's like, you know what? Be really smart, risk management, small positions, and then you're like, challenge accepted.
Yeah.
And then you're like, biggest positions, max risk. Let's disobey every risk management rule possible.
I don't go over 3x margin, so
he has risk management. He keeps money in cash. He keeps
some risk management.
He keeps allocation across different exchanges and different holdings and coins and diversification and blah blah blah.
I diversify.
He has a little bit of risk management. He does.
One time I used a stop loss.
Once upon a time I've seen him use a stop loss. But hey, every single day, I'll just walk out of the kitchen and come upstairs with a little food and watch Donovan crawl out of bed as he wakes up from a nap and then tells me how much money he made while he was sleeping. So, it's one of those things where when you're buying the altcoins like this, you can make money while you're taking naps in the middle of the day.
Yes, we're back to nap season and alt season where, it's amazing where you just go to sleep and then you wake up and, Coinbase, swipe, refresh that, and then all of a sudden, oh wow, I just made $20,000.
It's crazy how people think you have to work really, really, really hard to earn money in this life. And there's things you can do that do involve hard work, that do pay you large amounts of money, but it's actually crazy how much money you can make while you're taking naps with a brownie in your belly.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm really good at taking those naps. And for me, I've never really been somebody that just liked to work really hard. Physical labor, none of that was really my cup of tea. And so I really did everything that I could to just stay away from that. I did have to work in the oil field for a little while, but nonetheless, how much money I make in crypto is more money than, I think anybody in my family at this point. And on top of that, I work about 100% less as hard as anybody in my family to obtain, way more. And that's the cool thing about starting a business and getting in crypto. Crypto is...
with less of an education.
I'm a high school dropout. Everybody in my family has more education than me as far as that goes. Some of them have a college education, and I'm still making more than everybody. And that's the thing, guys. You do the thing that you want to do. Focus on the thing that makes you happy. If you're watching this, it's because crypto probably makes you happy, and just stick with that, because I'm telling you firsthand that I've been able to do this for myself. He's been able to do this for himself. I have every one of my family members in on crypto. I just had my sister cash out her entire life savings to go in on crypto, and so all this stuff's happening, and it's exciting nonetheless. Exciting, and it's exciting to see you guys that are actually able to make this money too, because we're already doing it. You guys see the confidence,
and we're putting all our cards on the table. Like my grandma put her life savings in crypto. If we're wrong, we're the most publicly wrong that you could ever possibly be. It's not even just that our YouTube channels were gonna look like complete dumbasses, but like our families will disown us too. So
yeah. So there's that for you guys. I can speak firsthand that it's way more intimidating when you have your family that are listening to your calls and doing what you say, because that's your family. You lose them, their life savings, and that's not going to look very good for you, is it? And so it's for us to even say these things, there's a lot of people really trusting what we say, and friends, family. All of my life savings is on the line here, and so we get on this channel. It's not like we're just talking out of our ass. It's like we really do believe the things that we say, and obviously we could be completely wrong about all of this stuff, but he's making money, I'm making money, you guys I hope are making money, and that's at the end goal here. And it's still such a good opportunity right now.
Yeah, crazy stuff, awesome stuff. We've been putting, my voice did crack a little bit there. I should beat him up right now. Yeah, boys, you gotta make sure to buy them altcoins.
Yeah, he just barely, he's a late bloomer.
I just barely hit puberty.
Yeah.
Yeah, my voice.
That explains your facial hair
I'm
problem.
really excited for when everything else happens that comes with puberty.
You sinner.
Okay, on a real note though, back to cryptocurrency. Back to a place I feel comfortable talking about things.
It's awkward talking about puberty when you're 23 years old and you haven't hit it yet. That freaking sweater that you're wearing reminds me of that time we stopped at that restaurant and our waiter was talking to us about crypto, and we told him to buy a bunch of altcoins at the top of the site.
Oh yeah, that would have not been a good time.
He definitely did too. Oh man, he was so excited.
He did probably, huh?
He bought the top of the altcoin cycle.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm excited for this time around, is the fact that I've been so bullish in the bottom of this cycle that when the market really starts to go crazy, I'm going to tell people that they got in late, and I'm going to tell them not to buy, and to be able to be in the situation, because here's the thing, if you're on the opposite side of the market, you're going to be just in full buy mode the entire way up this cycle. For me, I don't really have too big of an intention to continue to buy a ton of stuff necessarily. For me, it's buy as much as you can while the cycle's really low, and then scale out and be done with it, because it blows me away how much profit was left on the table by people that weren't willing to just scale out as the markets were going up. They got too greedy. They saw how fast Ethereum was going up, even though they sold it $400 instead of $1,400, and so then they took all their profits and went all in at the top. It's that type of stuff that's going to get a lot of people wrecked. And with how early we are in the cycle still, it doesn't really matter where you sell. Just accept your profits, because what is going to happen is you're going to sell something and then you're going to see it do a 10x or 100x past that, and you're going to feel so stupid for doing that. But you got to get in the habit of just being grateful for the profits that you take, because I know what that's like. I know what it's like to buy something. I longed Ethereum at $6 and then sold it at $8 before it went to $400. So, obviously I was feeling all kinds of things. I was angry that I didn't hold it that long, but at the same time I was able to just move past that. That was a really good learning experience to happen right when I first started trading, because then it got me used to the fact, I'm not going to be able to nail the exact bottom and the exact top, but as long as I'm taking profits and as long as I have those profits that I can use, that's a win. And that should be the only win that people really target, in my opinion. If you're not holding long term, and you're looking to take some short-term profits, just be thankful for the profits that you get, because having those profits is the key there.
Yeah, it's actually crazy how much money you can make just playing it simple. It only takes a handful of trades that you just buy and hold for a year or two and then sell to really, really, really make it big financially. But it takes one trade where you put too much leverage, you go all in with 100x leverage, for you to lose literally, there goes my voice again. Lose it all. For you to lose it all, it only takes, one trade that you over leverage, over risk, go all in, and bam. And so that's really, it's so simple. It's literally the simplest thing ever. Like I was saying, like one bottle of ranch, like just, well, you only need to have one bottle of ranch in your life, not 10 bottles with 10 flavors. Like the crypto markets, just zoom all the way out into the big time frames, trade the big picture cycles, invest in the dips, and then scale out in the mania that just goes completely crazy past the all-time highs and directly up in value.
Do it right now.
It's that simple. You could make it so complicated, but that's the most simple thing. And a lot of people are going to sit and think through it and think it into this crazy thing in their head. Don't listen to them.
I just barely had a guy in my Discord liquidate 50 grand out of his portfolio.
Yeah, it happens.
And what's stupid is the dude was in profit. He had a lot of profit made. And this is a thing that's going to happen to you guys. And, I listen right now so it doesn't have to. And this is really the biggest reason I don't really post very many margin trades on my Discord at all. I don't care to have people follow my margin trades because, it's one thing for me to post my margin trade idea that I follow, but what everybody else is going to do when it comes to taking that same margin trade, it's just like, for me, I just try and tell people not to mess with margin, because for me, when I take a margin trade, I take a trade with a very small amount of my portfolio. On top of that, I don't even have a liquidation price because my risk is just so small. I have a lot backing my position. I have a lot of liquidity. And so at the end of the day, I have no inherent risk factor necessarily. And if I were to just lose my position due to I can't pay the funding back then and get liquidated that way, then it's not a big deal because I didn't put that much money in the position. And I just see a lot of people, they're taking these margin trades with me, and that's what happened. The guy longed XRP at like 17.5 cents or 17.5 cents, what it was at this little point, and then it pumped and he made a ton of money off of that call, but he just kept going leverage.
Added
going
more
up.
and more and more.
Exactly. And then, that little flash crash that we just recently had, that little tiny wick in Bitcoin when it jumped up to 12K and then, retested 10.5. In that one little tiny wick that was immediately bought up, he got liquidated.
Everything, all his profits that he had made.
Everything. And I talked to him, and I don't think it was his entire portfolio, but it was like basically. And so that just goes to show, guys, one bad trade, it doesn't matter, you could have a year, 2 years, 3 years worth of winners. One bad trade is all it takes and you will lose everything, and it's not worth it.
Yeah, and that's the risk management thing. Going all in is always a bad idea, always. And it's so simple to grab your portfolio and put a bunch of money on a Trezor wallet or a Ledger or a hardware wallet of your choice and put it somewhere and just don't touch it. And then if you want to do some leverage trading or whatever, you can trade with small amounts on these leveraged exchanges. But it is definitely a real thing. And that's where it is the same thing the other way around though. One low cap altcoin, one DeFi project, you put $1,000 in, it goes 50x, 100x in value, and you make 100 grand, 50 grand. So it's just, that's kind of the message in crypto, is simplify and focus in on the stuff that works. That's so simple, because you can make a bunch of money really easily, and just avoid the stuff that doesn't work, like going all in or over leveraging or listening to your emotion.
Yeah, and I can understand where it comes from, because I think about from my perspective. So like when I had a smaller portfolio, I didn't really have a lot of capital. You see all of these coins everywhere. There's so many good setups that you wish that you could be in, but you can't. You only have a certain amount of money. And so a lot of times people will get in this, greedy mindset where it's like, oh, I only have $5,000. I want, 20 grand if I'm going to make millions of dollars or something, right? And so then they start getting in this scarcity mindset. They're like, okay, well, how can I maximize the fullest extent of $5,000? I want to make the most money. Well, oh wow, Binance offers 125x margin for futures contracts. Oh man, if I took $5,000 at 125x leverage, oh my gosh, I have a millionaire in the position alone. And so then they take it, and then, oh, one little wick and everything is gone. And that's just the way it's going to work. And so for me, all I've been doing, like I state, 80% of my portfolio is in long-term holds. And then I take an additional 20% and allocate that to the shorter-term swing trades and all the signals I post in my Discord. Off of that, I take these little tiny trades. It's not even enough that I feel like when the trade goes up, I don't even feel like euphoria, because I'm not like, I'm making money, yeah, and like might make 2 to 3x, but my position size is only, it's a small risk. It's anywhere from like a 1 to a 3% risk for every single trade out of that total portfolio. So each trade that I take, it might do a really big percent return. Like I could get like a 2 to 5x return, but even then, like the emotions that I'm feeling aren't going to be super euphoric, because the amount of money I'm pulling in, isn't anything crazy compared to
more just like, ooh, cool.
Yeah. Oh, I just made some money.
Nice.
Which who knows? Maybe I'm still pulling in like $2,000 to $5,000, but compared to what's in my long-term portfolio, it's just a drop in the bucket. And so that's the thing. That's the mindset that you got to get yourself in. Is just focus on making the trades and risking a small amount, because it's compound. If you started with $1,000 in your trading portfolio and you're only risking 1 to 5% of that for every trade, you're not going to be trading with very much money, and so you're not going to be winning very much for each trade. And so a lot of people don't want to get into that mindset. They don't want to take the trades. They don't want to build it up and get a trading plan that works. They just want to go all in on one trade and make all that profit, but that doesn't work. And so, kind of the whole point of what I'm telling you guys is what I've been doing is just risking a very, very tiny amount of my portfolio, 1 to 3%. And that's only 20%, right? So let's explain it so it's easier to understand. 80% of my portfolio goes to long-term holds, and then I have a 20% portfolio that I use for short-term trading. Out of that 20% of my portfolio, I'm only allocating 1 to 3%
per trade.
Exactly.
With that, okay.
Exactly. So it's not like I'm risking hardly anything. So if I miss out on the trade, if I get stopped out, so what? I move on.
It's a super fraction.
Exactly.
Minuscule.
Exactly. But, sure, I might not be making a ton of money for every trade, but if I get 100 trades right...
Yeah, or one does 100 times more than you thought it was going to do up in value.
Exactly.
And some of these altcoins do that. Sometimes you'll log into the exchange and a coin that you thought that was maybe going to go up 100%, it literally went up 500% in a day. Mm-hmm. That happens in crypto. Like you can have moves like that. And it's fun as hell to be racking in those gains, those green dollar bills, and them cryptos.
Yeah, it's one of the most fun things. And once you can get in the perspective, as in like, oh, I don't have to go all in for every trade. Oh, I don't have to put, I don't have to make all of this money all at once. You're fine. You're in an abundant state already. Once you can get yourself in those states, I'm at the point now where my portfolio is compounding, and the compound, how much it's compounding is kind of tripping me out with how quick it's growing. Like it didn't actually take that long. And that's the thing is, by me taking these small risk, these calculated positions, sure, I didn't notice the profits at first. I was just taking the trades, I was making the profit, and it wasn't very big. But, 2 months of doing this, the profits are getting bigger, and my portfolio balance is growing exponentially. And that's the thing is, get into that mindset where it's just focus on
effect.
Trade. It's one trade at a time. How do you build a house? One brick at a time. The same way. Focus on one trade, get that one trade. If you guys can get a winning ratio of about 50%, 50% is a really good return. And if you could be pulling out 50% of a win out of 50% of the trades that you take, the compounding growth of your portfolio, it's not going to take much time before, what started as $1,000 portfolio is a $10,000 and $100,000 and, so on beyond that.
Yeah, it's like a combination of remembering that, first of all, Rome wasn't built in a day, but also like once the ball gets rolling, it gets rolling.
Yeah.
Like you can make money really fast, really easily. And it's fun.
Yeah. It's like
super fun.
It's like get rich quick, except you're putting in this. So the thing about get rich quick is you guys are seeing us making a lot of money fast. So you're seeing the end result of what you guys want. A lot of you are probably watching the channel and you're sitting there, man, I would love to make a lot of money fast. Who doesn't think that, right? And so you're watching us do all of this stuff, but you guys got to understand that for us to get the strategy that's paying us this much, for us to compound all of this and to have these big portfolios, it started off with a small investment. And it started off with me taking a trade and then taking another trade and taking those small profits, taking a trade with, $100 or something and making a profit and only cashing out $5, right? But doing that over and over and over and over and over again to where finally my portfolio went from $1,000 to $10,000 to $100,000, and it just keeps growing. And so you guys are seeing the end result of somebody that's been able to kind of do all of that stuff. But that's what I'm trying to explain to you guys is now is the time where you want to be able to get that plan in place. So if you're actually trading these markets, you're doing the proper things, the proper techniques now, because what's going to happen if you don't, what happened to me, I started making a ton of money taking a bunch of stupid trades, all in on one trade, all in on this trade, and they were going up. And because of that, I didn't have an idea about what risk management was. I didn't know how to make a trading plan. I didn't know any of this stuff. And so, all it took was one trade, one bad trade, and all my portfolio was gone. And
in the first cycle?
Yeah, exactly. Whereas now...
And you actually still ended up making money through all of that, even without knowing those things. Right. It just wasn't...
That's the thing, like... Make 20 grand, lose 10 grand back. Make, 30 grand, lose 25 grand back type stuff. Whereas if I would have just kept the 20 grand and then held it, that would have turned into who knows how much. So that's the big thing. You guys are going to make the same mistakes out there. And so just, hold. Put the vast majority in your portfolio to just hold it. Don't even touch it. And then if you really, really, really feel the urge to trade, whether it's leverage, don't mess with leverage until you have a plan with spot trading that's profitable. And then move into margin if you want to. But with all that being said, if you're going to be trading, set a stop loss every time. And if you're trading, make sure that you're only risking 1 to 3, max 5% of your portfolio for every trade. And
with
if you guys do that,
extremely low leverage.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you guys do all of that, there's ways that you can make a lot of money fast, but you got to be able to use that system in a proper way. You don't go all in. You don't go Deegan shitcoin gambler like Dallin.
Like Donovan right here. He's the one that's secretly goes all in on. He tells you that he's in like 50 coins right now, but really he has everything in XRP right now. 26 Bitcoin in XRP.
Yeah, 100x leverage, balls to the wall. I longed 12 cents. I longed to the bottom.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Exciting times. Loving the market. Loving these altcoins.
Alts.
All these shit coins. These alts. These altcoins. Altcoins.
All the many names for these mysterious little...
From many a country.
Yes.
Because crypto is a multicultural revolution.
Yes, and
so
it
we
doesn't
get
discriminate.
Altcoins. Altcoins.
And then you get...
Honey, could you pass some altcoins over to me?
Alright guys, we need to
get this camera off. We need to turn it off.
So, thank you all so much for tuning into this podcast. Always remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to both of our channels. And links are going to be in the descriptions to download this on Spotify, Google Play, and iTunes. There's also Stitcher in there. Make sure you are a subscriber to Dallin's channel. Links are in the description. You guys can also find his Discord channel and VIP content as well. So if you guys want to get access to any of our VIP content, we both offer a video course and signals. Ours are separate, so you guys can get them, you guys can check out his, you guys can check out mine. Whatever it is, all of these are super valuable. I really do recommend you guys check that stuff out because, when you get into these markets, you got to find somebody that knows what they're doing. And all of our signals we've been posting have really been taking off. And it would be just a really fun opportunity to have you guys in the Discord communicating, congregating with the rest of our community. So make sure you guys join, make sure you guys subscribe, make sure you guys check us out on all of our platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. And with all that being said, we will catch you guys in the next video. As always,
stay profitable out there.